has to be an answer behind that. But we're not going to figure it out today. Instead, we're going to talk about some ghosts again. This is the continuation of Ghost Week. Two things, before I get started. One, just a reminder, the merch store is now open. We got shirts and hoodies and mugs. We got a clock. We got a Dead Rabbit clock. That's all on the merch store. Those will be in the links below. And quite a few people have already bought some shirts and hoodies. One guy bought a mug. I'm assuming it's a guy. Could be a woman. I don't know. Yeah. So we got the merch store going. Secondly, I said I give you a hint on Monday of what our Friday episode would be. One of the most requested, if not the most requested topic to cover on Dead Rabbit Radio. I said on Monday it involved ghosts. And today the hint is it also involves music. So a little mystery for you. Ghosts and music. See if you guys can figure it out before Friday. But let's go ahead and get started here. Now, okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is a video game. Now, I read an interview with one of the game developers way back in the day, probably around 2004, the year that everything crazy happened in the news. And I can't find that interview again, so you'll have to take my word for it, and you'll have to believe in this quote-unquote quote, because I don't know exactly what he said, but I remember reading it and being like, ugh. There was two people who developed this video game. The video game's called Fatal Frame. And you had these two developers. You had Makoto Shibata and Kisuke Kikichi. And one of them, I don't remember which one of them was doing this interview with this game magazine. And they were talking about it at the time. It was a kind of a big hit. It's definitely a cult classic nowadays. There's like 5 of them. They were talking about the first Fatal Frame, and they were developing the second Fatal Frame. And the interviewer asked them about, the workmanship, the craft that went into the game. And the game developer said, yeah, I wanted to make the game beautiful because I know ghosts watch you while you play it. And I wanted to give them something to look at. Now, that might just be hyperbole for a game where you're hunting ghosts. But it's actually quite accurate. I have my own personal experiences with Fatal Frame. Now, Fatal Frame came out in 2002. It was released for the PS2 and the Xbox. First the PS2, but I was house sitting for some friends of mine. Jackie, she was one of the people who was in the Shadow People invasion story. We did a lot of ghost hunting. Well, anyways, her family would let me house sit for them. It was totally awesome. And they had a PS2 and a big screen television set. So I was like, dope. Ran to Hollywood Video. Rented a copy of Fatal Frame because it looked super cool. Took it to the house. Played it for maybe 30 minutes. Went back to Hollywood Video and said, yeah, I took this home and my mom was like, it's scaring my little brother, so I gotta return it. Can I get another game? And they're like, yeah, sure. The game is terrifying. The game is very, very scary. The setup of the game is you're a young girl who's looking for a missing sister. You're in Japan. You have to go into this mansion. The only weapon you have is a camera, and you gotta time it right to get the ghost. But what's scary is you can't really see the ghost until you lift the camera up, and the camera restricts your field of view. It's a very, very claustrophobic type of game. Very, very well done. Great game. But it was so scary that when the developers started to make the second one, Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly, they got complaints that the first one was too scary. People didn't finish it. A lot of people did not finish Fatal Frame. It's too scary. So the developers said, okay, we'll make it, the sequel, we're going to make it a little less scary. We're going to make the plot a little more emotional, a little more involved. So people will want to stick around to the end. Fatal Frame 2 is considered the scariest game ever made. Fatal Frame 2 is I haven't played it. Because my experiences with Fatal Frame. Because what happened, it wasn't just that 30 minutes. I was obsessed with that game. And the only place I knew that had a PS2 was at Jackie's house. So I ended up getting a copy somehow. I don't remember if I bought it used or something like that. And I would go over to Jackie's house, because I hung out there all the time, and her and I would play it late at night. It'd make it extra spooky. But I can be brave if there's somebody else there. And her mom was always very, very sensitive to ghosts. If I've ever met a true medium in my life, it would be Jackie's mom. She just was very, very sensitive to all that stuff. She never tried making money from it. She never tried, being the ghost whisperer or anything like that. She would just kind of mumble about stuff every once in a while, about things she was seeing. And that house was creepy. But just her mom kind of had that. And she was just, she was a housewife. She wasn't a hippie chick. She was just a normal person. But she kind of, just the way she talked, if I've ever met a real medium, it would have been her. So I remember one night, she came downstairs and she was like, can you guys quit playing that game? And we're like, why? And she's like, because it's causing stuff upstairs. And I'm trying to go to sleep. Jackie and I kind of looked at each other. We're like, yeah, sure, And we thought maybe we were being too loud. But then we started kind of talking, and we shut the television off and just sat there for a while. We're like, because the game just has a creepy vibe to it. And her mom wasn't saying, it didn't wake up the dad. Her mom wasn't saying, please turn it off, you guys are being loud. It's like, she said it's causing stuff upstairs. So at that point, we had to finish the game. So there was a time when where the parents weren't there. And Jackie and I were there, and we were playing Fatal Frame, and we actually beat it. We were up till maybe like 1 or 2 in the morning. I'm sitting there playing it. She's going through game facts. I think we actually had to go upstairs to the computer upstairs, print out game facts, the website, and then bring it back downstairs. Because, nobody had laptops were still ridiculously expensive, and no one had smartphones. So we're sitting in the dark, we're playing this game, we beat it. But there's some other stuff you can do on it, like, I don't remember if it's so much bonus stuff, but like other content you can go through, battle mode or something like that. So we beat it, and I put it away. And I remember maybe a week or two passed, and I was talking to Jackie, and Jackie's like, my mom threw your game away. And I was like, what? She's like, my mom threw Fatal Frame away. I was like, why'd she throw Fatal Frame away? She goes, it's so weird. So when her parents came back into town, she goes, they came back to town, they're in the house. She goes, maybe a night or two passed. And my mom came to me and said, were you guys playing that game while I was gone? Were you guys playing that ghost game while I was gone? And Jackie's like, yeah, we were. And the mom was like, give me the game. She threw it away. Somehow this game, even though she wasn't there for this, and Jackie's someone I trust explicitly. She's never lied to me. Somehow the game does open something up. And it's a mass-produced game. You can buy copies today. They're like $20. And there's like 5 sequels, and some of them are on the Wii U, but it's not like this cult game, this is a spooky game that only one person can own. You can buy it and play it today. And I swear it opens something up. Really, really creepy. And I think that's what adds to the creepiness. And that quote, because I was really into that game when I read that quote from the developer, and he's like, dead people watch you. Like, it basically, when you're playing it, the dead will stand behind you and watch the game. I'm like, "Rrr." And from my own experiences, I knew that wasn't hyperbole. I knew that he probably built the game to attract the dead. I don't know. I haven't played it since. Yeah, and I've no way I'm playing the other ones. I might, you know what, that would be kind of cool, to do a Twitch playthrough of one of the Fatal Frame games. Fatal Frame 2, maybe. Well, think about it. You see a bunch of ghosts standing behind me, that would be creepy. I'm like, hey, guys, donate me some bits! And you just see, like, this hulking figure behind me. Mungo's ghost is standing behind me. That was a clip from our daily podcast, Dead Rabbit Radio. Dead Rabbit Radio is available anywhere that you listen to podcasts. It's daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime news. If you want to hear the full episode that this clip came from, check the link below. Please like and subscribe. And hit that little bell, too. That does some magical stuff. Thanks, guys.